I don't know what happened, man. I don't know.
Every team in Champ is garbage except mine. I'm the best player, the best captain, the smartest, most handsome guy in the league.
And then you decided to defend the take. I was like, you're a goofy bitch.
If I have you in my crosshairs, you are fucked. So don't piss me off. I've got some new targets.
Whoa. How do you know that?
Publish that shit.
How do you know that?
Dude, he's got the insider tech from Blunt.
Wait, who leaked that? Who leaked that?
Rhino, I know.
Oh, no.
All right, good evening. Mind for the Game podcast. My name is IPA. We're here for another week of Dota content in our beloved amateur Dota 2 league. Here with my co-hosts. This evening's beer of choice is the Trogs Oktoberfest beer. 'Tis the season, so I'm really enjoying that so far. Rusty, how are we doing tonight, my man?
Doing great, man. I got my funky Buddha here joining you. Got brew cracked open. Pleased to be here from the champion division. You know, we started hot. One of the other 4-win podcast hosts. I saw Rhino's team, both their series were sweeps, so I can only assume OTF is also off to a 4-0 start, so congrats, my man. Looking good.
Okay. It was solid. No, I respect it. You'd be wrong. Currently sitting at 0-4, but you know, on bye, feeling good, bro. On vacation right now. Excited to watch these matches. But yeah, no, I gotta recover. Hopefully we can get to that later in the podcast.
Will we see OTF Couchcast once again?
If I'm not standing in for Chef.
Okay.
It's more of an OTF like mime cast since there was no speaking, you know.
You missed the cast, man. What can I say? You missed the cast.
Tough times out here. Who wouldn't want to hear Subernier speaking about 82? All such a great mind for the game.
Did you fix the sound finally?
No, it was all DMCA'd.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it was cooked.
Hence mimecast, like a mime doesn't speak.
So if you didn't see it live, it was
Woo!
It's over.
Yeah,
I was playing.
Unfortunate, guys. Unfortunate.
Although I have played. This is a good question. Have you guys played with people, or are you people who have the cast open while you're playing the games that are being casted?
No, I consider that like cheating. No way.
I don't think it's cheating.
Or
I don't consider it cheating.
All right.
But I don't have
I mean,
it
it's not
open.
cheating it's not cheating if you're not looking, but no, I don't have it open just because I don't want randos or weirdos accusing me of stuff.
Okay, the thing that happens most often is in between games, my teammates will be like, "Oh, listen to what they're saying about this." Like, we finished the game, it's intermission or whatever, and I just don't even
I've done that.
think of doing
I
that.
definitely do that.
Yeah, I do it after I do it like as soon as the game ends. I pull up the stream. It's fun.
Yeah,
It's
more
funny.
often, if I win, I'll put the last 5 minutes on so I can bat chess, you know?
Yeah, how are you feeling tonight?
Yeah.
How's Puck?
Puck is good. I'm feeling pretty good. I just had a nice dinner. Made some halibut with a lemon butter caper sauce and some spinach and potatoes. So had a nice dinner with Puck and my girlfriend, and I'm drinking now a mango mango banana turmeric smoothie with some milk I got at the farmer's market. It's pretty good. Slaps.
Nice.
And
You
I
got
also
some antigens in there.
Some what?
Antigens? Wasn't that those drinks you were getting?
No. Those are your adaptogens that Jamie likes to make fun of me for. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
and guys,
just all
I know this may
natural
come as a
tonight.
surprise, but Chev is white.
Yeah.
I know that's shocking after what you just heard, but he is.
T-Bow put in a chat one day when I put like a picture of my groceries. He was like, "Why does your grocery store trip look like it's gonna gentrify my neighborhood?" Which I thought was very funny.
Where do you
but
shop?
also,
What store? You go to Wegmans?
Yeah, just Wegmans. Minor
Gotcha.
docks there, but Wegmans, yeah. Or there's a food co-op near my house too that I like to go to when if I just need something quick. But I also appreciate you starting the podcast, giving me some editing work to do because now I have to find a way to snip out that beer talk that you had and move it to the back. Tradition.
Fair enough.
Yeah, my work cut out for me. But yeah, I'm chilling.
Good. Glad to hear it. I do want to jump into our agenda for the evening. And first up, we're going to do a bit of a discussion about some news that happened. Those of you that follow 82L get the admin announcements, of course. And there was one recently. And it happened to be a player who plays in the Conqueror League. None other than the infamous, probably not famous, Malibu.
Yeah, chat got really explosive that day, guys. It
Yeah,
was blowing up.
I don't know who else, but I was at a work conference that day, and everything was deleted by the time I looked. So thank goodness for RNB's political channel copying and pasting everything for me to catch up.
Yeah.
Yeah, the chat was going crazy. Malibu said some absolutely insane stuff that is just like common sense. Even if you believe it, you should not be putting this into Discord in like a serious tone.
The kind of stuff that, like, even if it's a joke, it's like, don't make that joke in a public forum.
Dude, it was legitimately so crazy. Like, if the FBI actually went to his house, I would not be surprised. It was fucking insanity.
Jesus.
But he was banned from 82L, which I think I've been lobbying for this for a while. I don't know. Malibu's one of these guys. It's like nothing, really very minimal positive contributions to the league, to the Discord, toxic, like literally will go absolutely insane at the drop of a hat. I remember him arguing with Purple Pansy, and he said, "I hope you get divorced and lose your kids," which is just crazy. So I think he was definitely on his last strike, and then when your last strike is also making threats of terrorism in the 82L Discord, you're definitely gonna get a ban for that. So pretty funny. It's a long time coming. I'm pretty happy about it. This guy, I did not like him. I think he is unhinged. I think he's quite bad at Dota. So his team might be glad he's gone. I'm not sure. I'd like to ask them about that.
Absolutely wild news. I think the other thing too is I think one player on their team followed him out of 82L, which like my reaction is like, after someone says that stuff, why is someone's instinct like, this is the person I need to follow? Yes, that is my people right there.
They might have been like IRL friends or something, unfortunately, for that guy.
Maybe he's in on it. Who knows?
To be honest, I just think Malibu is like just annoying. Has always just been annoying. One of the people that talks way too much. And if you're in a Discord call with him, he just like does not stop speaking the entire time. It is unbearable. So yeah, good riddance.
I think his peak toxicity might actually be worse than Suburneer, and that was obviously a very worthwhile ban. So I'm completely in favor of this. When I was hanging out with Gambit a couple weeks back, I was lobbying him to ban Malibu long before any threats of terrorism were happening. So I'm glad that I was ultimately vindicated a mere like 1 week later.
Which makes me think, Rhino, given Rusty's track record with the bans of Suburneer and now Malibu, he's publicly stated that players that he's targeted to be banned are now gone. I mean, you as a journalist of the deep state, do you think that perhaps Rusty is really pulling more strings behind the scenes than we think, and perhaps the Malibu chat was manufactured in Discord?
So, firstly, I appreciate this question because the deep state hasn't been talked about in a while, and it's mostly because I am now a part of the deep state. Now, you may be wondering what that could mean for future content, things of that nature. But I really had to look at myself in the mirror and realize that I'm not, 2017, 2016 Rhino. I have probably been I don't know what the word is, but I'm pretty sure I'm in the deep state somehow. So yeah, with this Malibu ban, Wow, what a guy, man. What a guy. Like this guy has really Rusty hit it on the head. This guy has really contributed absolutely nothing to the league. It was a long time coming. I literally like the comment for those of you who didn't see it, it was something that like looked like a 4chan screenshot. Like it was crazy, bro. Like he was just sending crazy shit. I also want to say the admins Swift, very Swift. Subaneer, not Subaneer, Subwoofer, my fault. What has made up for that, that small nut decision, in my opinion. The community was looking for him to make it up. The streets were obviously looking for him to make it up. And I think he did with this Swift decision. It was like in the middle of the day too. It was like 12:30 on like a Tuesday or some shit. Like or like a Wednesday or something, right? Like so,
It was a
obviously has work
Friday.
and shit. A Friday.
I was work from home, yeah, so I was just perusing the Discord.
Wild, and yeah, rip. Good riddance.
Yeah, and I just want to say really quick, 82All admins issued me a 24-hour timeout. Very unfair behavior. And I just want to set the record straight. I do not condone any comments made by Malibu, nor do I think they were quote unquote based. This was all in parody / satire / Minecraft, and is not my true beliefs, guys. So I do not condone. We're an anti-terrorist podcast here at Mine for the Game. Just want to get that out there officially.
Does a deep state member publicly announce on a podcast that they're a member of the deep state? I'm just checking. Just wondering.
So the deep state rules aren't officiated, you know what I mean? But I think if you've been in ATO long enough, you probably know who the deep state members are. I think the list needs to be updated, but you probably understand.
Also,
I won't say too much.
With all these words now, our podcast is definitely getting flagged on YouTube. This shit's getting taken down in a week. Terrorism.
For sure.
Jesus
Listen,
Christ.
I also want to just want to say one more thing. I have contributed to certain people getting punished in 82L in the past, and I just want to say, if I have you in my crosshairs, you are fucked. So don't piss me off. I've got some new targets.
Whoa.
I've got some new targets that I'm doing some in-depth research on right now. We're gonna see if I can find any useful dirt on them. But better
Do you have an
hope.
Excel spreadsheet of it?
Better
somewhere?
hope they've covered their tracks. Is all I'm gonna say. No, I don't have an Excel spreadsheet. Basically, someone does something to upset me. I'm gonna try to get you what you deserve. We've done it many times. I am the LeBron of 80-12 tickets, and I will use my prowess accordingly.
Okay, well, if Chev wasn't right before, now that Rusty announced he has a list of people that he's targeting and that they're going to get what they deserve, we're definitely getting banned.
Literally in a video game, I just want to say. This is in a video game. I'm not targeting anyone in real life. This is the Amateur Dota 2 League.
This is an interesting
There are some
conversation.
people there are some people I would like to be banned or penalized that have come into my purview recently. So we'll be doing some research. We'll see what happens.
Is one of them Thick Boy? Because I'm pretty sure it is.
Thick Poog and his 8K MMR big bro. I won't comment. I do think this behavior in the pubs is absolutely shameful. But I will thank them for the MMR donation last night. Thick Poog, you are so bad at Dota. It is legitimately astonishing how bad you are. Hope you listen and sub up to the pod, though.
Alright, we gotta move on before the shit gets too toxic. Let's go. Come on.
Yeah, next topic. Malibu banned, good stuff. Let's move on.
Now that we've gotten the military portion of the podcast out of the way, we're going to move into the Dota portion and talk a little bit about Conqueror League and the state of the league where it's at. I don't know if I'm surprised or not, but I do feel like in Conqueror at least there are only 2 undefeated teams currently. Out of 15 still, Animal Enclosure is hanging on by a thread. Despite the previous drama, it looks like they're going to try to stay together. I hope for the players that are on their team, they make that work. However, if they do drop out and we lose the bye week, that wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. But Jukes Angels and Merrill Howard Kalen fan club, we talked about MHK before as like one of these teams coming up from Warrior, and I think they're impressing. A 2 over Grinsyth to me was a huge result. And they looked pretty comfortable doing it, quite frankly. And Jukes Angels getting a 2 over our team. It was kind of one of those series where it was very even until it wasn't. And I think this meta has kind of showed like those outcomes sometimes. I think the other team is interesting is Zealous Gaming and Wild Daddy's teams both getting to 3 wins. I don't know if we would have predicted that by week 2. I think this Dota Under the Influence squad is maybe one to watch. Maybe, I know the first content piece, people had them in last place. And I'm not sure that they're there yet. So I think some of the teams that people had predicted to be in the top of the league are not there right now, with the exception of Jukes Angels. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how maybe week 3 starts to clarify the tiers of where people belong. Who are you looking at over these past 2 weeks, Chev, as like a major underperformer or overperformer so far?
So, yeah, I think you have to also think about. I mean, it's just week 2, right? There's been 2 matches per team, and some of these matchups have been against some really weak teams. So I think like looking at MHK, I mean, they are sure a top 4 team, but one of the teams that they 2-0'd was Crownfall Fishing Club. I don't know much about this team. I do know that they're eligible for Warrior though. So they're literally just signed up for fun, a league above them, or for the challenge or whatever, which honestly, like, massive respect to Cheddar Bear and company. I think that they seem like pretty cool dudes. We're streaming them tonight at 9. I'll probably stream it. But yeah, I think there's just like, you can't really take too much out of week 2. You can't say like, wow, this team's such an upset, because you don't really know anything that's happened. It hasn't shook out yet. You don't really know the power rankings of all the teams that they've been playing. And honestly, Conqueror looks pretty weak compared to last season, in my opinion. With that being said, to answer your question, I think some of the teams that, I mean, there's the obvious one in OTF that looks like, it's like, what the fuck happened to this team with probably the best mid player there, Rhino, who is has a tent set up in grand finals every season. And then, people that when we scrimmed OTF at the beginning of the season, they shit on us. And it was when we had Brody standing in, who's a 7.5k pos 5 player. So we got absolutely worked by OTF. So I was like, this team is first place. They'll drop 3 games all season. Definitely upper bracket. And then to see them with 1 win and now 1 win against the bye week, right? Going into week 3 is so tough for that team. I mean, Rhino and I talked off screen about how he needs to he can only drop 2 games for the rest of the season if he wants to make playoffs, most likely. And he can't drop a game at all to certain teams that are kind of going to be on the cusp. So some of these like 7-win, 6-win teams, really needs to be really careful playing against them. So there's just a lot of pressure that goes on when you're going into week 4 with 1 win. But aside from OTF, I mean, some of the positives, Jukes Angels looks fantastic, which I'm so happy about. I mean, Juke is a pleasure to have in class. 5-star player on and off the court, and his carry player Killua is obviously a beast. I've been saying it before the season started. That guy is insanely good. And Mark is just a great guy, and they have just like really stellar players. So happy to see them up at the top. I know that they're also just kind of having fun with it, not scrimming too much, despite me begging them to scrim me. Yeah, I mean, it kind of just like, you can't take too much from it, but happy to see teams like Juice Angels and MHK Fan Club are up at the top doing well. Some of the teams that were off the radar as kind of like front runners, I guess, doing well going into week 3. Long-winded answer, but I hope I got your question.
It's just you're passionate. I get it. And I think OTF deserves like a more in-depth conversation, so we'll get to that later in the episode today.
Sure.
So Connor, talk to me a little bit about playoff predictions. Like, give me 2 teams that are sitting outside of the top 8 right now that you think are going to make playoffs, and give me 2 teams that are in the top 8 that you think are going to miss playoffs.
All right. I would say So there's 9 teams with 2 or more wins right now.
Yeah, you can consider that the top 8, 2 wins or above.
Okay, I would say. I mean, obviously, I think of all the teams below, I think OTF definitely has the highest ceiling. And I believe in them to get it together if they're gonna have a softer schedule from now. They've played. Who have they played against? Last week was Savage. The week prior was.
Was us.
Oh, okay. So those are two quality opponents that you won't face later. So I would predict them. And this is hard. I don't see Crownfall Fishing Club making it. Maybe the spooky, scary skeletons, possibly. I've heard some good things about them. Pool Pals has 2 divine, actually 3 divine players. I'll predict Pool Pals and OTF. And dropping below, I'd have to predict maybe Zealous Gaming. Just don't know if I'm a big believer in them. Plus, I personally dislike them, so I'm a bit biased.
Those guys suck so much.
Dota Under the Influence I was low on in the beginning, so if I had to pick another one, I'd probably go with them.
Okay, one of the first teams with an Immortal, Caleb Spark, now Immortal, joining Team Sea Cucumber Eater. Spearor is also Immortal.
Sea Cucumber Eater, let's go.
For leveling up, dude.
This is like this is a very fun team name you have going. I just want to say I don't think anyone's ever done something like this, and I think it's enjoyable. So keep it up. That's funny.
Nice.
Well done, Chev. All right, Rhino. So this question about Conqueror League so far goes to you, and that is, who are we putting on fraud alert? You know, last season Chev was famous for declaring Grin Scythe frauds, which then promptly
Arf.
made it to grand finals. So I think my question to you is, who this season? And I know we're only through 2 weeks, but it's a similar question to Connor of like, who are the top 8 teams that aren't going to make playoffs? But it's not just the placement aspect, but maybe from like a Discord and like a talking themselves up standpoint. Like, who do you think is on fraud alert right now?
Let's see here. Okay, so I honestly think so this may be a hot take, but I think all 3 of our teams, that is my team, IPA's team, and Chev's team. I think so. So Chev's team, I'm waiting for them to get tested. I really want this team to get tested, and when I test it, I want them to play either
Second
Juke
series?
Angels. We'll say again.
Is that a second series? We only played one series.
Well, no, I'm saying like tested in like in the schedule.
I see.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then IPA's team has been tested, right? It's like I was saying that was a 2-0 by Juke's Angels before that week, before that game was played. I think that was like the general consensus in the community, in the
The
league.
streets were saying it, bro. I
The
heard it
streets were
all
saying
through
it.
the streets.
Exactly.
Man.
The streets were saying it. So, you know, yeah, I think, and then obviously I'm sitting at 0-4. So I think like all of our teams are on fraud alert, right? We're like I'm on actual fraud. But like I think the 2 teams above me are on fraud alert. Where like I think IPA has a lot to prove this week for his team, and then Chev as well. Without Lorenzo, I think maybe less on Chev. Probably next week would be like his reckoning, but definitely like this is like your team's reckoning for sure. And then ZG. Oh man, I can't wait till I see you. I don't give a fuck what's going on, bro. Like I don't give a fuck what's going on, bro. I think for like when you give people a reason to play Dota and you give them a reason to like beat you, like they all automatically play really fucking well for some reason. I think that's why people play Rel against me and they like playing against me. And I think ZG brings that to the league. So I sort of disagree with Chev. Where like ZG is that one team, even though they're going at me right now, like it's cool. Like they're like little pests, you know, they're like little flies. You know what I mean? It's just cool to see in chat. Like all right, like they think they're getting hyped. You know what I mean? So they bring some interesting elements to the league. You know, they gang up. They all pull up in chat. You know, 3 deep, 4 deep. You know, so it's a cool element. But yeah, I would say ZG, slow twitch muscle fibers, and Krill Eater, or would be my fraud alerts, and then obviously OTF just straight fraudulent, but fraud alert, those would be the 3 teams.
Can I give one?
Go ahead.
Of course.
Merrill Howard Kalen fan club.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. Why?
You
I
have to
think coming
explain,
up,
Rusty.
I think coming up from Warrior, keeping the same team is tough. Who'd they beat? They beat Grinsythe. I mean, that's definitely a good victory. We'll see how Grinsythe compares to last season. I think Math Jets was like irreplaceable player, really good player, and has some intangibles that Rhino brings, and overall some chemistry back with Simba too. Even though maybe not like the most skilled in the world. No offense. And who'd they beat week 1?
Oh, don't forget KCMJ, dude.
KCMJ.
Casey's my
KCMJ,
goat. Number
we
one
gotta
Chef
talk about
Glaze
it.
associate, dude.
We actually have to talk
Chev
about
Glaze
that kick.
recipient.
That kick,
You know, that
like,
speaks for itself. Good for Conk. Good player for Conk for sure.
that kick is like massive. Like I know Revamp has to be hitting himself in the head right now. Like chemistry is massive, and like kicking an offlaner that got you. I think KCMJ was a massive part of why they got to grand finals last season, and like just kicking him in the offseason to make him a free agent. It didn't sit right with me. I know I've already talked about it on this podcast, Revamp. If you're listening to this, I won't talk about it anymore. I think that's behind closed doors, and I don't know enough to really speak on it. But I think right now you got to be in yourself. Like finding good offlaners is rough, right? Finding good offlaners where you have chemistry with is even rougher. So kicking it just didn't make much sense, and I know you wish you had him against Twubs. I think, and I'm glad Rusty brought him up because I think their opposite is fraud. They're the opposite of fraudulent. I think they're exactly what they're getting. Like what you see is exactly what you get with that team. And like when I watch them, I'm like, okay, like these guys have a great concept of Dota, right? They believe in the person who's shot calling. They all move as one, right? And even if you get these weird picks, like they just know what they want to do. I mean, I heard Twubs on the podcast, and the way he talks about Dota reminded me of like Spike or somebody like that, like a captain that believes in a little bit of like Spiror actually is a great example, right? A captain in a draft that believes in maybe some off meta weird tech, but like is really good at like can get their whole team on board with that idea and can go win with it. And that's what they do. So yeah, I actually have them as like probably number 1 seed right now. Actually,
Yeah,
number
I'm
2
with
seed.
you,
Number
Rhino.
2 seed.
I'm
I'm
with you.
not convinced their wins are that great. I see Savage, or I see Grinsythe, who I think is probably a bit weaker than last season, based on what I'm looking at. I think their offlaner looks potentially weaker than KCMJ. Pause 4, having to go from Math Jets to an Ancient 3 is just going to be a downgrade. No offense to this player, I don't know them. And I've never been a big Lambert believer, no offense to him. Haven't seen a lot of success coming out from that corner of the world. So I believe I think Merrill Howard fan club might be a bit of a paper tiger. I'm not trying to hate. I see some offlane ogre or some pause for ogre magi and some other weird stuff I would think is a little bit more abusable. I see safe lane Timbersaw. I see some weird stuff happening that should probably not be winning every single game so far. So I'm gonna put them on fraud alert. No disrespect. I admire what they're doing, but they are on my radar as potentially that team.
I agree with Rhino. I think your inability to believe in that team is an inability to understand the Dota that they're playing. And I think that if
Maybe.
you watch their games, I think they very much pass the eye test, and I think they're going to be a serious contender this season.
Maybe. I mean, I'm definitely impressed by Twubs. Looks like he plays some difficult heroes with good success and busts out like a wide variety of them, which makes it hard to draft. When the guy plays kind of cheesy heroes, but it has a lot of them that he can have success with, so you're already thinking about him, but there's a lot of options. Players like that are hard to draft against and strategize against. So I'm curious. They do run a melee pause for like every single game. Feel like maybe they might be getting away with some stuff in their offlane, but maybe Twubs is just that good that they still find good ways to get off to a good start and have good impact. So
I think
that's
they'll
my
be
2
tested
cents.
this week versus Juke. Juke and Kill You Lane.
Oh, yeah.
I got Juke
yeah.
2-0. I've been really impressed by the pause 1 especially,
Yeah.
and been a big Juke fan for a while, obviously. And their pause 4 I've pubbed against a number of times. Pretty good player. I've seen him mostly going mid. I think he's like a big OD spammer. But a good
Disgusting.
player for sure. So I think he can make it work. And always rooting for my pal Milk Boxy to do well. Always rooting for him.
Well, the good news is it's not just Conqueror League represented on this podcast. Over in Champion League, Connor has gone up above the trash of Conqueror and going all the way to Champion with some good friends from last season.
Yes,
And
guys, Conk was just a road trip, a little detour. I'm a champ gamer now at heart.
Would you
Been
say
there
a
for a
side
few
quest?
seasons.
Would you say a side quest?
It was a side quest. Ultimately fell a bit short of our goal, but I was still happy with the end of the season for sure.
And you are the only undefeated team in all of Champ. I see some familiar names up here. You got Jamie's team with 3 wins, Mochi with 3 wins. We got a dually truck team in here. Benya boys have kind of been up here for a long time now. I remember they were in Challenger a few seasons ago, and a Dark Horse team that's been here for a while. How are you feeling about
Yep.
Champion so far, Rusty? And like, similar questions before. Like, who were the teams that you think are truly represented by their record, and maybe some teams that you're like, oh man, I can't believe they're at 1 win.
I'm not surprised at any 1-win team thus far. I had most of them pegged as being weak coming in. I'm not surprised given our schedule that we're 4-0. I think playing against Jamie's stack and then Wasted will be a big test for us. I think if we can go 2-2, or ideally our goal is to go like 3-1 against those 2 teams, like get 3 out of 4, and then we'd pretty much be in pole position moving forward. That's our goal for sure. This week we have Wasted. I think those 3 teams I just mentioned are the top 3. I would not put Mochi up there. Mochi does not worry me like the others do, just because I think they're not as well balanced across the board. But they do have some very good players, like Tornado, probably one of the better, if not the best, supports.
Tornado's the GOAT.
Tornado is
Very
really,
good.
really good. Of all the pod spores, he's probably the best. So
He's gotta be like
I
almost
would
7K now too, right? Or something? He's like, I saw he was in the twos.
yeah, he's very high rank. So I would say he's like 7K probably. He's probably grinded a lot since the season started. So he's really good. I don't think anyone's fraudulent. A lot of people had Dark Horse high coming in. They have KCMJ, as we mentioned previously, and Crasheroni, which is some other pos 4 who was in this league last season, has played with Immortals and stuff in the league before. I definitely think their offlane duo is a downgrade from last season, and
I'm
maybe
really
that's why they're
surprised.
struggling a bit.
I'm really
I'm a
surprised.
bit surprised that they had 2. I'm a bit surprised they have 2 wins right now, but at the same time, I did think they would take a step back, having to kind of reorient their team and pick up some lower MMR players. So I'm honestly not too surprised at what the table looks like. And I think it's kind of a clear top 3 moving forward until proven otherwise. So that's kind of where I'm at with it right now.
What about this Enzo team? We got some familiar
Weak.
names from previous seasons. Fav,
That team's not
Fourth
good.
World. Was it Mercury a Mochi player?
No, Mercury's a pure damage player through and through. Always
Pure
on that
damage.
stack,
Okay,
yeah.
that's right. Yep.
I mean, I'm buddies with a lot of these guys. I mean, no ill will. I just simply think their stack is a bit weak. Until I'm proven otherwise, I do think Pizza Jr. is a good replacement. They had Fathomorg originally. I think some real life stuff got in the way of him playing this year. I just think their side lanes are not very strong, and it's going to be a struggle for them making playoffs, I think. I mean, maybe they'll sneak in there, lower bracket. I'd be absolutely floored if they were even threatening a upper bracket spot. But maybe that 4 seed might be a bit more open than we think.
I'm a
Maybe
big
my
fan.
team is a bit weaker than I thought. I don't know, but we've done well so far and haven't had any scares, even though we've had a easier schedule. So I'm not surprised with where they're at, because we scrimmed them in the preseason and it really wasn't close. But then again, I do think they have some strengths that they can maybe build around moving forward. So yeah, nobody on their team. There's a lot of these teams. There's like 1 or 2 players that you're like, damn, that guy can 1v9. That guy's really good. That guy is a bit scary. Wasted has that. They have Smack. Smack's like a really good player, and their Pos 5 super good. Jamie team has Teju and Jamie, like, boom, right there.
Kelly,
Those are 2
too.
guys.
Don't
Oh,
forget
and
Kelly.
Kelly. How can I forget Kelly? No, Kelly's actually the scariest one.
Yeah.
So they have kind of a 3-headed monster that you have to contend with. Our team, I would think people think that about Samurai and Edge Timber, like
And
top
Matthew.
guys you got to deal with. Yeah, but people don't know Matthew as a Pos 4, even though he's like extremely good at it. I think he'll get more recognition as the year goes on. I think he's actually been our best player so far.
I think you guys have like probably the strongest support duo in champ.
Like he has stepped up. Maybe wasted supports are quite good.
I want to say on the Enso team,
Probably up there though.
I think this Enso team is like they're really well known, like prevalent actors in 82L, but I think that like Mercury, I know he's like got like a family and shit now or something like that, and Fab just got married, so I think that they're like a bit. I like them all as people a lot. I really like playing with like every single one of them, but I think they're a bit washed if I'm being honest. Enso is like a team that would have been really good 2 or 3 seasons ago.
Yeah, I think I get that vibe. I think some of them have kind of, like Mercury used to kind of own me in lane a lot and stuff like that, and getting a lot of D wards on me and stuff. But now that's not the way it's gone.
Dude, he lost his
when I played against
passion.
him.
I used to play with Mercury, and he'd get so tilted if something went wrong, or like if his lane partner wasn't doing something. He's like, "No, you have to do it like this," but not in like a toxic way, and just like a passionate way. And it was always really fun to listen to him. And then last time I played with him, he's like, whatever. I'm like, dude, where'd your passion go? Where'd your fire go, man?
I think they're just a bit below their peaks. I think that's totally true statement. The only one who I'd say is like at their peak or close to it is Fourth World, but at the same time, no offense to him, he's just not. He doesn't strike that fear in the heart. And boy, if I see that Elder Titan coming, I'm gonna eat that shit for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
This Goldfish Gaming sec looks like a Conqueror team. So there might be. It looks like they're pulling a Cheddar Bear basically of going up a league, even though
they
it
play
looks
like
they
one
could fit
too.
in Conqueror.
No flame. I think
Too late.
they're all right. It's just jokes. Well, yeah, it's mostly jokes. I definitely think they're a weaker team. I don't have them making playoffs, but I think they're kind of like a friend/growth stack. So I admire what they're doing, and I hope they get some more wins. They got a win last week. They had the bye week 1, so we don't have a lot of data on them yet, but looking forward to hopefully them having some more good results.
I like the people that do that. I love when teams just will like play a division up just because they want to like challenge themselves or something. It's cool.
Yeah, for sure. Very admirable.
So, speaking of playing a division up, I can't say that about the majority. Actually, I can't say that about the majority of OTF's roster because 3 of them are floor players, and then 2 of them are literally top of the league capped Divine 4 players. Now, Rhino is kind of like shot up in MMR recently, right? You've had some success in the pubs, so not a floor player anymore. But this is probably a team that, we've talked about, I think because our co-host Rhino is on here, but I think because it's like, this team, the fall of OTF needs to be studied. There's no doubt about it that we need to be commissioning some scientists to understand what happened here. But what I really want to dig into is, where is OTF now? Where we got Rhino on the cast. He said he's on vacation. What does that really mean? There's been a media ban, and so one of the things I think is not talked about enough, and we touched a little bit before, is OTF did not like for an 0-4 team like had a pretty unlucky schedule. I think. Well, I think, you know, I've said before, I think we are a lower bracket team, slow twitch muscle fibers. And I think Savage is probably a lower bracket or bubble team. I had them as maybe the team that was going to be winning it in an earlier podcast, but I'm just not so sure on Savage yet. So I think OTF got a little unlucky on the schedule in Swiss that they had two like legit opponents in the first 2 weeks. But Rhino, what I really wanted to ask you is the media ban, the mental that's happening on your team. You know, what's going on behind the scenes with everybody? How's the vibes? I mean, no one's been kicked yet, so that's good given your history. But like, where are we at?
Yeah, I think this buy has honestly helped us. Honestly, I was like, when people were like, you may get the buy this week, like your playoff chances are sort of fucked. I was like, I think I want the buy, to be honest. Like, I think so some of my players are off the court going through some things. And I would just say the word's distracted. I think the potential's all there. I asked a couple, players how we looked against Savage, and it just looked like a pub. We were just, completely distracted. Comms were silent, and I think for this team, I have to talk a lot, and I'm trying to get back to it. I think earlier in my career, I used to talk a lot, but then I played with great captains. So like I got to play with the IPAs, I got to play with Chev, I got to play with Jamie, like I got to play with Bry Guy, like I got to play with I got to play with Revamp. Like consistently, I had people that talked more than me on the team, and I could just play the game. This team's not like that. Blunt is a very heavy focused player. His brother is much the same. Our 4 player cafe, I will say he talks a lot. It's more of like a conversational talking. It's less of an affirmative speech. So I think we're working on is just affirmative speech. Like, guys, do this now. Instead of like, hey guys, should we do this? Or making it more of a conversation. And then our 5 is also a 4 player, and he's sort of like our good vibes guy. He keeps the vibes up and in comms, but he's not he doesn't have like the competitive apparatus to really call shots. So it leans into me, right? So um, I think when I'm playing poorly and I didn't understand going from pause 1 and spamming all those games on pause 1 going to pause 3, how big a change in my fucking game it'd be. Like I'm bad. I'm playing really bad. And it's like I can't even defend myself in most chats. Truly, because I'm just playing bad. And it's hurting my team. Not in only a gameplay wise, but also like a shot call wise. So I think that on top of the community's not taking it easy on us, right? Like we're OTF, it's a Rhino stack. Like we're gonna have a lot of eyes on us. People are going to talk. They're going to add us. They're going to try to like get arguments off us. They're going to be gifs tossed at us, right? Like that's just something I don't think everyone on the stack was ready for. And now they're ready. I feel like going in now that they have 4 weeks on their or 2 weeks on their belt. Now they're sort of ready, for conk dogs to call them out and at them and throw tomatoes and shit. And that can get in your head mentally if you're not ready for that shit. So a media ban was had. I enacted a media ban. Obviously people can we just won't be replying to shit anymore. Like we won't be nagging on shit no more. Like it's time to strap in. And yeah, that's the mentality we'll have going forward.
Lock it down, bro. How is Blunted dealing with the removal of his friend, Malibu? Is he broken up about it?
Blunted was actually cooking him in chat while it was going down. Yeah. That
The
Malibu
love-hate
guy was cooked.
relationship. The love-hate relationship is tough.
I do think that's how a lot of ATL goes, though. I think 80-12 is one of like if publicly a lot of people will say one thing and then privately they'll say another. So yeah, and I think I think Blunted's learning that. He's young. He's young. He's talking to people a lot. He's chatting with people a lot. They're getting in his head, and I had to pull him aside. Sort of like not that I'm like mentoring him. He's fucking way better than me, but like it's more of like okay, here's the competitive aspects of the game outside of the game. Like the Dota is very much a mental game. You have to come and be focused. Uh, and yeah, and So hopefully we see a change in the team. I think discipline wasn't there, and I hope it is there now. So yeah, that's basically what I'll say on the subject.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I hope you guys make the play. I'm a little concerned that we're gonna get a repeat of Tento's last season, where you guys kind of claw your way back, but because you've played us and Savage, you're gonna have kind of knocked off a lot of the bubble teams, and you might be the highest win total team for some of the top seeds. And your play-in week to get to tiebreakers might be against like a 1 or a 2 seed team. So I'm a little worried about that for you guys, but I think it's possible that a six wins when you have 15 teams. I think 6 wins for tiebreakers is very possible. So hope to see you guys there at the end.
Yeah, fingers crossed. That is the plan. It is the plan.
Now, in order to do that, you've been pretty outspoken right now about the idea that you hate this meta. As soon as there's a patch, you think there's going to be a big shakeup in the standings, and you think you guys are going to end up rising to the top. Talk to me a little bit about when you got any hope for a new patch? Like, do you feel like the meta is stale after TI? Like, I feel like I've seen a lot of people just emulating TI meta in both bans and picks so far in the first 2 weeks, and I'm kind of snoozing. How are you feeling? What do you want to
Yeah,
see happen?
I think whenever there's an Aura group patch at like 20-25 minutes, it takes a lot of the skill out of the game. Like it's like, and it takes a lot of almost like the comeback mechanic as well, right? Like how many times have we heard you lose one fight, the game's over? Like why is that Dota? Like why is that Dota, and why am I fighting into 7 Rs at like minute 25? It's just like, this is not fun. No one's fucking dying. No one does damage. Like it's not a fun patch. Like my heroes are fine. Like I feel like the balance of the patch hero wise is actually fine. Like hero wise, Lone Druid is a little crazy. Some things need some tweaks, but like this is a pretty balanced patch. Not every, nothing's insanely broken. Nothing's insanely dog shit, right? Maybe bring back Darkseer, but items are broken as fuck. And I think that I don't know if we'll see anything until like November 1st, which is probably what, first week of playoffs, right? Rusty?
I think it's around there. I think it's around the tiebreaker week.
Yeah. Yeah. Gavin knows, man.
Yep. What about Champ, Rusty? Are you seeing like a similar meta to what we're seeing in Conqueror of just like a lot of these TI picks? We're getting the range carries, we're getting the save.
Yeah, a lot
mission
of Wind
dives.
Ranger, Luna. People are loving Luna, like picking it. A lot of first picking Luna I'm seeing, which I think is definitely beatable. But I think it's like the 14 pick Luna, or God forbid, the like 17, 18 pick Lunas you need to watch out for. A lot of Wind Ranger for sure. A lot of Dusa is a popular one. A lot of Sand King bans. A lot of Tusk bans or picks. I'm not sure how much people love Shadow Demon down in Conk, but it's a pretty popular ban or pick up in Champ because W with the facet that removes HP is quite good. And yeah, it's a lot of the TI stuff. There's not as much like, I wouldn't say there's a ton of people picking Lone Druid or Naga necessarily, but a lot of the other picks, especially ones that are already popular to play, like the Tuss of the world, are seeing a lot of action in the drafting phase.
What do you want to see happen? Like the patch, how do you want to see the meta change?
I want to see better facet balance, because right now, maybe this is just going to be a permanent thing with facets, but I think certain heroes, I'll give an example, like this is a good hero, I wouldn't say he's like over tuned or anything, maybe like a small nerf would be good, but Kunkka has 2 good facets, both can be viable options. The hero's just good, the facets kind of just choose which you prefer that game kind of thing, but he's not being picked because of either facet. But then there's heroes like Shadow Demon, Tusk with drinking buddies, where a Luna with this damage facet as well is another popular one where the hero's often getting played because of the facet, and the facet is the reason the hero is firmly in the meta. I prefer that the hero is just meta because he's good or fits into the current playstyle, and then the facet is actually like a choice. And they're more balanced in terms of which one you want for each, different situations where each one is viable. So right now, I just think some of them are kind of imbalanced where you're just taking the one facet no matter what. Hoodwink previous patch was the same way. Like you're just choosing her because she's such a good laner with the tree bounce, and the facet is like a huge reason why she's getting picked. So I would like more facet balance and maybe just a small bracer nerf. Anytime these small stat items are good, it's like a snowballing effect. So I'd like a small bracer nerf. Some neutral item nerfs as well would be welcome. Some of these neutrals seem like too good. Like the Seeds of Serenity seems really good. The stupid Whisper of the Dread still quite good. The Split Shot one is super good. Specialist Array. Some neutral item nerfs would be good.
Yeah, get me out of this version of Dota 2 where support's at 1500 HP at 20 minutes. I'm not enjoying that because then you, like Rhino said, you add the items on top of it. You give a support a Solar Crest and 1500 HP because they have a Bracer. It's just kind of brutal. Assassin heroes are just kind of dead. Which kind of leads me into my question to you, Shev. Like, how do you feel about this mid lane meta? There was some discussion about like spirits, and we're gonna test the truth between the spirit mid meta because Rusty is gonna 1v1 my 38.9% win Invoker after this, and we're gonna truly test how the mid is. But I'm curious if you, as more of a specialist, what you think.
Yeah, I actually don't mind the mid meta right now. I think it's like probably the one role that is the most fun still. I think you get to play all of like the fun heroes and you don't have to build auras or worry about becoming unkillable with HP items. Like the heroes like Quap doing 1 million damage, and like Puck is a hero that has like 1500 HP throughout the majority of the game and just rushes a blink and the Witchblade upgrade. But Parasma. And like the spirits are all good. So I like the mid meta right now. I don't like the fact that mid heroes are supposed to be able to hunt around the map and get solo kills on supports, and that's like a big part of coming back into the game, is trying to find these pickoffs. Playing Storm Spirit and finding a kill. But every time you do that now, the enemy support has either like a Solar Crest or a Glimmer Cape and 3 bracers, and they don't die, and then their entire team TPs, and then if you do get out, that's cool, and then that's a win for you. But it's not as gratifying as killing the hero, and getting gold and trying to like get a numbers advantage. And then, or even worst case scenario is they TP 5 heroes and then you die, and they don't even care if they TP 5 heroes because the economy sucks right now and farm doesn't really do anything for you. But so that's like my take on mid in general, is that supports are not killable, heroes are not killable, kills are not possible to get. Like every kill is really low percentage. And then I just want to answer quickly your question on like the overall meta. I think that I really like the facet change that Connor's saying, but instead of just making it like, they should be more balanced, I really like the facets that completely change the playstyles of the hero. Like Wind Ranger, for example, you either have the Focus Fire or the Unfocused Fire that Whirlybird spins around, and it just changes the way you play it, becoming more of a hard carry versus a solo kill hero. And I think that if every single hero had something like that, it'd be really cool, so that there's like 2 paths that you can go down based on how you want to play at that game. Like Storm Spirits is just kind of like, do you want to do a little more damage, or do you want to have your Remnant fly in front of you? And that's like doesn't really change conceptually how you play the hero. So I think that would be like a cool change going forward. And then other than that, just agree with everything Rhino said. Remove auras from the game, change the map, change the items. Items suck. Remove Gleipnir from the game. All that good stuff.
I think there I hear what you guys are saying about facets. I think there is still a lot of unlocked tech with a lot of these facets so far, especially the really weird ones. Like the Storm Spirit one in particular, I had kind of thought about uh, running the famous Rhino offlane Storm Spirit. I think the hit yourself with an overload charge when you W them is really fascinating for trading in the lane, especially if you have like a crit hero or like a Monkey King with Jingu who's going to hit himself for like 300 damage. Um, I just feel like there's some stuff you could play with in certain matchups. So
That's fair.
I
That's fair.
I hope people try to cook with it, and I wish that our Dota community was generally more accepting of trying weird shit.
Dude, I agree
Yeah.
with you because some of these facets are like just now getting discovered that they're like insane.
Like the
Like
Lone Druid
drinking
one.
buddies. Yeah, well the lone druid one's new, so that one, I mean, yes, it took people a bit to catch on to that, so that is another example. But like drinking buddies has been in there since its inception, and I think maybe it got a small buff, but I just think people didn't fully realize the implications of like what it does and how much it adds to the hero. And I remember last season at the beginning we played against Drinklin, funny enough, from Team Mochi. And he was kind of a Tusk specialist, and he was onto that Drinking Buddies tech really early. And I remember he pulled a guy out of my cogs, and I was like, huh, that seems pretty good that you could just yoink your teammate out of trouble with that Drinking Buddies. So I do agree there's definitely some untapped potential. Probably still stuff people are catching on to. That maybe was written off at the beginning, but still needs to be figured out a bit.
I mean, some people are doing it though. Like the pause for ogres that you talked about. Riley played that and he looked really good on pause for ogre. So I think that there is some creativity, but
Like, what's the tech though? Like, what are
I mean,
like what are they doing?
no one's picking it, so he picked it and he rushed to Midas and like he just became strong. It's not like it's like this
Interesting.
super creative thing. It's just like it's a hero that people aren't picking. It's really off meta, and the learning curve facet does so much damage in lane. I'm pretty sure he like destroyed whoever Rhino's carry was in that game. Forget now, but
Yeah, it's not. Ogre is a strong hero. It's just like after the laning phase, this hero just kind of waddles at you and like chucks a few spells, and then you're just like, oh, but I guess I'm not doing anything because I don't have a real ultimate. So
I
you
think
rely on
he's
this like
weird.
item scaling. So like
yeah.
items
Yeah.
being powerful now with multicast, like you multicast Solar Crest, it's pretty fucking good. It's basically like a physical damage pipe. It's kind of insane.
No, that doesn't. You can't multicast Solar Crest.
Well,
I-
if you could, it would be amazing.
You cannot multicast items on allies, but you
Yeah.
can multicast items on enemies. Obviously, we've seen it with Hex,
Well,
Heaven's Halberd.
they should
stuff like
make
that.
Force Staff multicast on allies too. That sounds fun.
It would be fun, but the griefer potential is crazy.
Mm.
Also, like Glimmer and stuff would be, you'd be like the most OP here in the
Yeah,
game.
hero boost,
Yes,
the
Marana
breakthrough.
ulti on Glimmer. Let's go.
That would be wild.
I am a ogre enjoyer, level 29 ogre player. One of my more played in comp Dota as well. And I think he fits well with the range support meta, especially, or sorry, range carry meta, especially. Like ogre plus Luna, ogre plus Medusa, ogre plus Weaver, things of this sort are quite strong. But I think he's a bit outshined by other melees who offer a bit more utility, a bit more beyond the laning phase, like Clockwork, for example, Tree and Protector, guys like that, or
Oh, yeah,
even
the heroes that make you
not
unkillable.
necessarily a melee, but Ench or Chen in terms of like lane dominators. So I think he's just a bit outshined a bit. Normally he's really good when these range carries are popular, these Gleipnir buyers are popular, but I think he's just a bit outshined right now.
Well, I want to give one quick hot take too, IPA. I think they should remove Universal Heroes. That shit was a mistake. There's a reason that there's 3 different hero types and they can't do everything. I hate Universal Heroes. You should not be able to just become super tanky and also do 5 million damage and have like unlimited mana. It just is dumb. Dumb idea.
I think they're balanced now. They were a bit overtuned at the beginning, but I don't really have a problem with it anymore.
Yeah, I would agree with Rusty. I think make every hero regular except Universal Magnus.
Pretty sure every broken hero at TI was universal.
No.
Lone
What are you talking
Druid?
about?
Tusk?
Lone Druid?
Tusk? Shadow Demon?
No. Cores.
Luna?
No.
Besides, I mean, okay, there's a couple that
Lena?
are just like broken, but I mean, Wind Ranger, Sand King, Lone Druid,
Lena?
Brood Mother.
Morph?
Morph's not broken.
He's
I
very good
wouldn't
in
say
pro level,
broken. Not
but that's
broken.
kind of the hero design. Also, like, do you really think Sand King, the reason Sand King's broken is being universal?
Nature's
Does that actually
Prophet
matter
is-
at all?
Nature's
yes, I
Prophet
agree.
is
I
not.
agree.
Wait.
Marana is okay.
Marana, yeah. Marana for
Dragonite is
sure.
not though.
No, but a lot
Sniper
of them,
is not.
a lot of these heroes would not be as good without being
It's a good
universal.
mix.
Sand King would suck if it wasn't universal because you don't have. That's what they did to Timbersaw. They took universal away from it. All of a sudden, he didn't click for 100 in lane, and then he fell out of meta completely.
I agree
He's
with
not
this
out of
take for
meta
Chev.
completely. He had 20 picks at TI. He's one of the most picked heroes.
Yeah, but I think Sand King would not be seen as much if he wasn't universal. That hero going dataless, like Sand King going dataless in your games. Are we fucking serious?
The most
Goes dataless on that hero. Maybe
No,
in
people
Legend.
do. Some people do.
of the
it,
top
It's
five,
gross.
the top 5 most contested cores were Sand King, Wind Ranger, Doom, Monkey King, and Puck. Those are 2 universal out of 5. Then you expanded a bit. You have Marana. Okay, that's universal. Sniper, not universal. Dragonite, not universal.
Are you doing
Nature's
by
Prophet, not
bands too?
universal. Yeah, combined
Huh.
contest rate.
I don't know. I think the
So I
concept
think
is
it's
dumb.
a bit more balanced than I think it's a bit more balanced. I think it's fine. The trade-off is you don't scale as hard as an Agi hero.
I don't think that's true. I don't think Agi heroes
Like-
scale anymore.
I mean, maybe they need a bit of love. I didn't really read any Agi heroes there except Sniper.
Yeah, those Agi heroes are dead as fuck.
I guess Monkey King as well, but Monkey King's more of a mid these days, I would say. But yeah, maybe some Agi. I mean, Luna's one of the better carries right now. Morphling definitely still good if you are good with him. But yeah, maybe they need a bit of love, but they still scale harder than Universal. You get more out of building Agi in the late game than you do, and being an Agi hero than you do Universal.
I don't think that's true. You don't get like any HP, and then you don't
Yes,
have
you
like
do.
not from building
You get
Agi.
armor,
It's-
and your DPS increases in 2 different ways versus just one.
I think armor matters
Yeah.
right now. I don't know.
Armor definitely matters in the late game when the most significant damage is physical.
Then where like
I think
the
it's
juggernauts
also
and stuff?
you gotta think about this, Chev. Is it's a tank meta, so
The games just aren't going that late, dude. Like the games it's a snowbally meta. Like we see a lot of grouping up in Aura, and there were very few long games at TI. We saw there were like almost no 60-minute games, 50-minute games. Like they just weren't lasting that long typically. So here are like Nature's Prophet, Marana, Dragonite, who are getting tanky and then hitting buildings hard, are a lot more value than the uber late. I don't know a good example off the top of my head. Anti-Mage, Faceless Void, heroes like that.
I just don't think that those heroes scale as hard. Like I heard this on, I think it was like the Tundra podcast with like Cap and SVG. SVG was like, you put this like 6-slotted PA or a 6-slotted Primal Beast. What would you rather have in the late game? And it's pretty much always the Primal Beast. Like the Agi heroes just don't scale anymore.
I don't know. They still scale, but maybe they need some love. Maybe some of these items like Butterfly Disperser need some buffs. Not sure.
wow. Well, I got way more mileage out of that meta question than I thought I would. Thank you, gentlemen.
As the highest MMR member of the podcast, my opinions are correct, and the rest of you are mutts.
Well, that's definitely the Jamie school of thinking. So it's not the first time I've heard it. But the only way to really prove this, Connor, is on the field of battle. So I would like to invite you now to join me in getting your
Alright,
ass
I'm
beat by a
coming.
much lower ranked player.
I probably will lose. I'm extremely bad at mid. My last battle report, I had 0% win rate on mid. Very sad.
I haven't played since Facets came out this hero, so we'll see.
Is this
Thanks to everyone who listened to the podcast. Make sure you hit that subscribe button for next time. Catch the next hot pod that comes out, which should be hosted by the one and only Rhino.